welcome back to this drawing series. In the last few videos we have been talking about different ways to help us with our drawing. So we started by talking about the shape method, and I showed you how to use two simple circles to create the pear shape. If you haven't seen that video, then you're welcome to go back and have a look at that one before you carry on. In the next video we talked about value. We looked at the different values that we could get out of our pencil, and we talked about what value is and how we can use that to create a more realistic drawing. I then showed you how to use the blending stump to create softness in your drawing to help blend the values together. So today we're going to have a look at how to use the blending stump and some other tools to create the pear shape. I showed you a little bit in the last video when we were talking about value and blending, but I'm going to show you in a little bit more detail. So what I have got ready is a blending stump, which you can get in various sizes. It's rolled paper, and it helps to smooth out and blend the graphite. I've got a cotton bud, which you can also use if you don't have a blending stump, a cotton pad and a tissue. And the reason I've got all these is because these are all the different things that you can use to soften your graphite and move it around your drawing. And you don't just have to use one item, you could try using different ones. You might like them for different things. Okay, so we're going to start by getting some graphite down on our pear. I'm just using a 5B because it's what I've got to hand, but you can use any pencil. And I just want you to, again, I'm holding the pencil quite far back like I showed you in my first video where we were talking about the shape methods. So you can go back to that if you want to find out a bit more about that. Using the side of my pencil and really quite roughly just getting some graphite down. It doesn't need to be neat. Okay, and I'm using a photo reference of a pear with some nice dark shadows on the edges so that I can see where my shading might be. So the light source on this pear is coming from this way, creating a shadow at the back and light at the front. So once you've got a nice amount of quite dark value there, you could choose to use the tissue, the cotton pad or the blending stump. Now I'm going to use the tissue. I'm just going to wrap it around my finger and use the pad of my finger in circles to just slowly move that graphite around. And a couple of things happen. You'll notice that the graphite softens as we move it around, and it also gets lighter. So what you find with drawing is that you have to keep going back and you have to keep darkening and lightening the areas that you want. So it won't just be I've done it and that's the end of it. I want to come back in and I want to make areas even darker. You'll also notice that some of the graphite is transferred onto the tissue. We might decide to use that later. I'll just show you over here that transfers quite a nice value onto the paper, which we wouldn't get if we used our graphite from our pencil straight down like that. So it is a nice way to get graphite and get a nice smooth value onto our whatever it is that we're drawing. Okay, so we've got a nice range of dark there, and I'm going to add some dark to the stalk as well. We'll just leave a little bit of light at the top. Now I could use the blending stump because that's got quite a nice tip to it on this bit. I wouldn't use the tissue because the tissue is big and I would get graphite everywhere if I tried to go in and smooth that. So I do want to use something that's got a smaller surface area, so either the cotton bud or the blending stump for that. And if we want to make it a bit darker, then we can just go back in with our pencil and add even more, and then again just help smooth it out and blend it so we've not got any hard edges. Okay, so now we've got a nice area of dark, and we do want to have a little bit of value on that side of the pear. So I'm going to take my tissue again, and I'm just going to smooth a little bit of graphite over and blend it into the dark area. Okay, so you'll notice that we've got now quite a nice covering on this side, and this side is slightly darker. There isn't enough of a contrast between the two sides, so there isn't enough difference between this side being really dark and this side being light like we've got here, and we do need that. So there's two things that we can do. We can add more graphite to this side to make it darker, and we can erase some of this side to make it lighter, and by doing those things that is going to add even more realism and create more form. So I'm just going to rub away at the bottom there just to give my pear a bit of a nicer shape so it looks like it's sitting flat. Okay, and because we've used a really light hand, we can go in with the eraser and we can touch up any lines that we wish to just to get the shape that we want. Now on this side, on the left hand side, I'm just going to erase that line because I don't want an outline there which is not going to look realistic. We want it to look like the pear is rounded, and so therefore the form is turning. So you can see I've erased quite a lot of this, so I don't want that harsh line there. So I'm just going to go back in with my tissue and rub between the two again, just to come in and soften that area. And you can still see that line a bit, so what I'll do is I'll just take my eraser and just erase back into that, and this time maybe I'll take my cotton wool pad, and again I'm just softening and blending as I go to create a lovely form of turn. And if I want to make my stalk look like it's coming out of the pear, I can just add some dark to that, to where the stalk meets the edge. And again, take the blending stump or the cotton bud, just blend that out and erase. And it's just trial and error. What looks good? What do I need to add more dark to? And it would be that kind of a shape, this kind of a shape where the stalk goes into the pear. So that's the shape that I'm making there. And you can see that makes it look more realistic. There is still this kind of mess here around the stalk, so I just want to neaten that up by getting rid of some of those marks. So use your eraser, use your blending materials and have a play. I mean, we could still go darker again here and just keep adding and taking away. That's all it is, adding and taking away. Blending back in. And there you have it, a really lovely pear that we did using the shape method. blending, erasing and creating value. I really hope that you've enjoyed this drawing class. I hope it's been helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message or comment below, and I will do my best to help you with them. And please feel free to send me your pictures when you've done them. I'd love to see them. Thank you.